Hello, on this episode of the Inventive Marketing Club, we are going to be looking at different communication methods. So this isn't just like looking at a contact form like we've done before, but it's looking at the variety of different ways that companies communicate with their visitors or customers. So it could be a form, FAQs, or even the phone. So let's just dive right in. So again, Claire's plucked a list of different websites here. We've had a quick look through, but I didn't want to. I want to save most of my comments while we actually record. So let's just dive in. Look at the first site, which is jetblue.com. Claire, maybe just let us know why you picked this one and give us your thoughts.
So I picked this one because I like the way that they target people down different journeys. So it's about tailoring your contact quite early on in the stage. So rather than having a blanket contact form, they give you options. So whether you want to have a quick chat or kind of talk through your different mobile devices, it gives you options. I think that's quite helpful into today's sort of way of living.
Yeah, I like it. What I like about it is a lot of companies try and hide their phone number. Because they don't just want people to ring. I get it, that can cost time and money. Although I'd argue sometimes that it's good to speak to customers because whenever you speak to customers, there's an opportunity to deepen that relationship or maybe even get an extra sale out of it, depending on what you do. However, if you're just looking at things like this, where you're trying to help people with common issues, then you may not need to speak to them online, and actually you can just give them you can put some information in front of them, which they've done here. So they've pulled out things that people might want to. These would be common requests, I'd imagine. So I quite like that. But further down, you can search for it if there's anything specific. And I think you quite like this, the fact that you can have a chat using your preferred method. So if you've got Apple, you can use the sort of business messages system, which I've not explored actually, but a lot of businesses can use Apple's message system without having to communicate on an iPhone. They actually have a sort of business console web panel for it.
Yeah, and
Um,
WhatsApp particularly
yeah.
is hugely impactful for some companies. One of the companies I've worked for, the engineers would talk to customers directly. So they sort of bypassed the office and, they troubleshooted and, got their machines up and running very swiftly. So it was a real saving grace, sort of having that one-to-one contact with the right person without having to go through automated systems or three people to get to the actual person that's going to help you.
Oh, absolutely. We haven't got this example here, but that reminds me of a contact point I had with, oh, was it not Nespresso, Lavazza, one of the coffee machine. Um, it wasn't working. It was trying to finish its cleaning process. I don't quite know what was going on with it. I love technology, but this was confounding me. I just couldn't see what the problem was, and I tried to diagnose it myself. Anyway, I ended up ringing their support line, thinking they're just going to palm me off and say, "Oh, it needs a service or it's out of warranty or whatever it is." Anyway, I phoned them and they said, yes, it's out of warranty, but let's have a look. So she said, I'm going to send you a message. If you can go to that link, it's going to enable me to see through your camera on the phone. And then she was able to direct me to push buttons on the machine, and she could see exactly what's happening. She can hear the machine, and she could tell me exactly what the problem is. And actually, it was an issue where it just needed to run through the cycle a lot longer for some reason. We ran it through, and it was fine. And even though I might have got there if I just carried on doing the same thing, it was really nice to get someone on the phone first time after about three rings who can actually help me. And for them being able to see through my camera was really useful. I love that process. It was very straightforward. I didn't have to download any apps. It was actually I was surprised by the service they gave really, and I came away very happy. Especially
Yeah,
because I was able to make Lou a nice coffee.
that's amazing. I've not experienced that myself, but with WhatsApp, you can take video, you can take photos, and you can really quickly get to the bottom of it. But that sounds amazing what they did for you.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant that they could do that. So yes, actually having that direct contact with a customer or even a potential customer in their platform, I think is really helpful. Rather than just forcing them down your route. They've got telephone numbers as well. I opened up one of these. You do have telephone numbers if you need. But I think if if they do provide the right information up front and it's clear using video if necessary to go through that. I think you can actually stop people calling the number rather than trying to hide the number. I think that's the wrong thing to do.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to this one, which it isn't about contacting support, which is more about JetBlue. So there's probably a pressure point. Something has happened, there's a problem, and that's where you need to contact them. This is slightly different. Tell us a little bit about this one, Claire.
So on the right here, you have a standard contact form, which is very sort of typical. But the thing that really stood out to me is the video to the side. So it really personalizes it. It's not a blanket response, and it's encouraging people to make a call rather than an email, and the reasons why. So um, rather than sort of having, we all suffer with very bloated inboxes, and I think having a call and having that sort of targeted communication um, is much more beneficial for the company and the customer.
Yeah, this is very similar, and I think we brought this up in a previous Focus On session on those Calendly or um, yeah, booking forms, which we use. I find them very useful because they do resolve a lot of communication that you would have over text or phone call or email very quickly in terms of booking a slot. I think this takes it to this mixes that and a regular lead form. And I like the way they've got the video here. It gets irritating after you're watching it for quite some time, but I don't think anyone's going to have it on screen for this long. But it does capture your attention the way it's edited or cut. So it's got this the action is quite quick and dramatic, draws your eye to it. I haven't played the video yet. I don't know if he's going to say something really insightful, but I like the idea of that. It's a really good way to draw attention in this little animated GIF here. Um, They've also got a couple of quick reasons why you might want to use this communication method. From their perspective, I'm assuming I haven't started this journey elsewhere on their site, but I'm assuming this is where they funnel people. This is where they want people to go, which is great. It's a kind of a call to action to fill out this form and book a call where they can meet you and take this relationship further forward. So, they've got this conventional form on the right-hand side, but they've added on the video, and I really like that. Oh, you've got a couple of FAQs down here. It's quite nicely done in terms of the way it looks. Yeah, it's a nice looking page. Quite a nice looking page, very simple, very focused. It's not driving you, there's no menu at the top. You're not sort of looking to go elsewhere. It's
And
good.
you can see the journey that you're on and where you
Hmm.
are in that stage of communication. I think that's a really lovely touch.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see what's going to happen. Yeah, I like it. I mean, some people might not like to be funneled down. Some people find that frustrating. But I think if people are at the right point in the journey and they actually do want to take action, it does help to do this and to say, right, now commit. Let's focus you on doing the job and funneling you through. So yeah, I like that. That's very good. So moving on to HubSpot. HubSpot's a well-known brand in marketing. They've got a key piece of marketing software that a lot of businesses use. We don't use it. I find it actually, I just don't like the interface. Really, I'm quite a snob when it comes to interfaces, and I like them to look nice and feel nice. And I just don't like HubSpot, so I don't warm to it. But they are a big brand. A lot of people use them. They actually provide a lot of information on marketing. So they've got big, certainly a big resource on that front. And so this is their contact page. So I'm almost a bit disappointed by their contact page looking at it. It's not something I've seen for a while, but we've got a lot of elements on here, haven't we?
Yeah, and there's a lot going on. It's quite bland in a way though. It's very sort of standard sort of template. And it's sort of, I'm slightly disappointed seeing as they're such a big company. I would have hoped that they'd have sort of had a bit more engaging contact compared to
Yeah.
some other sites.
Compared to some of the previous ones, I would have thought they'd have a slick um, form, a bit like Impact. And I think they probably do for certain campaigns they're running because their software does provide lead generation forms. But this page is very generic. We've got this chat window popping up over everything else while we're on the contact page. It's a bit, I almost think that chat shouldn't be there, or it should be embedded as part of a link here so you can activate it. Whereas I think this is just a site-wide chat popping up, which is a bit irritating, sort of covering some of the content. this is a bit bland. There's no interesting typography. It's all the same size. It's a bit Blair. It's just not as exciting as interesting as I would hope that they would be. Um, we've got it split into these two options, but actually, frankly, just looking at this, there's so much going on there. I could start and get a demo. I can chat. I've got contact support. I've then talk to sales. I mean, I understand that this page is probably trying to do a lot of work, but there's probably a better way of simplifying. And I actually go back to JetBlue. I kind of like this in a way. It's like, what do you want to do? And then starting to provide sort of more generic details if people need it. Whereas I think here it doesn't help me. I don't love it. I
Yeah,
quite like the images of their offices, but I
it needs
don't.
to be more structured and more sort of bite-sized to different options available.
Yeah. Do you know what I think it's missing? So at the top, it's actually covering up the woman here. Let me close this. So we've got the support woman here. I actually prefer some of the images they've got their smiling faces here of their team. I think I know they might not be support staff, but I'd almost prefer these images because they make me feel happy. I'm seeing happy people and, makes me feel comfortable. Um, this is almost like a sort of a default image of someone who's ready to help, ready to, yeah, I'm not sure about that. I actually quite liked was it on JetBlue? This little funky icon face here, that made me smile. I know maybe
Yeah,
that's just me. I think fun things like this guy here, okay, he's not smiling, but he means business. He's sales. He's going to help you grow your business. So this, you
but
can maybe relate to that.
there's energy there, isn't there? There's
Yeah,
enthusiasm or personality. I think you're seeing personality, I think, in each of those sites, whereas here you're not getting that personality until
no,
you sort of scroll much further down the page and see the different branches and their images.
yeah, and these look nice. These look inviting, and I know it's not about these offices, but there is a life to those offices that is just not represented up here. This almost is like a boilerplate template contact us page. That's what
Yeah.
it looks like. It's dull. Let's move on. We don't want dull in our lives.
Yeah, that's it.
So shame, not shame on you, HubSpot, but I expect better. Expect better. Here's Burger King. Haven't been to Burger King for a long time. I used to when I used to travel up and down to London. There used to be on the way a Burger King. Used to look forward to stopping at about, oh gosh, 10 o'clock at night. Terrible time to eat. But I was young. You don't care about those things at the time. I
Yeah,
haven't had one for a long time.
same.
I tell you what, I actually like their color scheme. I like it's very retro. I love and it just looks really
Warm,
nice.
isn't it?
You've got happy, smiley, young, friendly people here. I know this page is nice. Nice looking, at least at the top.
Yeah, it's warm, it's friendly. I was surprised though, as you sort of scroll on down, how kind of basic the
Mm,
information is and how kind of listed it was. I would have sort of hoped that it would be maybe a little bit more broken down. And I was surprised for such a big brand to kind of go with such simplicity with their communications, although they do offer a lot of different options. Um,
yeah, I think so. At the top, the site's pretty clear. I actually like the style of it. I love the colors, the retro colors look really good. Love the image here. It then you, I know exactly what you mean. It's basically a list of information. However, there's a couple of things that help. These big titles, these clear titles do stand out. So if you want to flip through and find something that is going to be relevant to you, I assume all of these sections will meet the need of one of their customers along the journey of Burger King at some point, or people who interact with Burger King. So, like CCTV requests, careers. These are all different ways that people can interact. So it's actually fairly straightforward to quickly flick through and
yeah,
see that. So I quite like that. If you compare it to HubSpot, where these tiny titles here,
yeah.
I don't know, just
And I like the
they,
transparency of the communication. So they're going, you can get help here or here.
yeah,
So you don't have to dig around, you don't have to pop down boxes. It's it's simple, but it is effective. It's just a different way of doing it.
yeah. What it did lack, that I noticed it lacked, and there's probably a reason for it, is there's no telephone number. There's no number I can ring. And maybe it's broken down like delivery. If there's a number I need, it's on there. CCTV request, there's no number for that. Careers, no number for that. And I can understand that because you've got it's a huge company, many different departments throughout the world, probably. I mean, this is just Code UK, isn't it? So they have this is a local site. So even in this country, there's so many different departments, systems that are using that it's going to be difficult, and they don't necessarily want people ringing. And I don't think people should always have to ring to solve a problem. It's just strange that there is no phone number on here. I'd imagine maybe if you click through to one of these areas, you might find it.
Yeah.
The only thing I think they could benefit from here is just maybe splitting them out a little bit more, maybe using two columns,
Any more images?
maybe some icons that represent it. So maybe, yeah, some images, splitting it down, possibly an image for each one. But in some ways, maybe that we're over communicating. We're adding too much content to it. And actually, as a page, it's quick in and out. You just find the area you want, click on the link, and you're done. So I don't know, maybe actually this is actually more effective than some of the others we looked at, some of the other versions they may have tried.
Well, there is
Um,
that saying, less is more.
yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with that. And I also think this is a bit difficult to read. Want to get in touch, and then I go blah 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 because it's just big text and there's a lot of it. It's quite bold together. Um, I almost think it should be like in the middle. Want to get in touch and find answers and contact details for the most commonly asked questions, and then it says and then split down, scroll to the bottom or scroll down to find uh, and actually it's got this bit in scroll to the bottom of the page if you want to contact us about a restaurant experience. Well, that's interesting. I mean, you might miss that. Anyway, I love the top of it. It's really good. And actually, this is simple, so it might work quite effectively. But I always like seeing happy, smiling people. It makes me feel good. Moving on to communion. So I think we showcased this one when we were looking specifically at contact forms, but I want to showcase it just from this page, really, without diving into the contact form, without going any further. When people click on contact us, so this is the contact page, there's two things people want to do at this time. One of them is they're seeking more information about architecture, about how to work with an architect, about cost, what's involved, that sort of thing. So they're seeking information like that. And the other is they want to work with Alex. And many years ago, when we developed the site or took over his original one, here's a more conventional contact us. It's like contact us. Here's the email. Here's the phone number. You choose what you want to do. There was no direction, and so we worked towards this direction where Alex was actually getting overwhelmed with leads, and they're a small company. There's a good team, but a small company, and they want to focus or they need to focus on the people who are going to move forward and their customers. So we developed it and it's actually quite nice having this insight into it because I don't have insight into how the others have developed. But we developed this to say that of a lot of the people coming through, they just want to find out information. So maybe we can provide that information for them online. So we developed this resources pack, which I won't go into. If you're interested, go and have a look at communionarchitects.com. And but actually, that button's slightly wrong. It doesn't download a pack. It actually visits the page. So we might need to revisit the text on there. But if you go to that page, it's got videos, it's got blog articles. You can sign up for a newsletter. You can read more about Reba, which is their sort of body that manages architecture, architects, and people who do that sort of thing. Yeah, it's their governing body. So you've got two choices here. I want information. I want to learn more about how I could work with Alex or how I could work with an architect, costs, all that sort of stuff. That's available here. But when you're ready to go, you click on the project form and you fill out some basic details about your project scope, cost, what you're trying to do, that sort of thing. And I think it's worked really well for Alex because it keeps at arm's length the people who aren't ready without telling them that you're not interested. It's like trying to provide that information up front. I mean, there's tons of information on his website, so this tries to funnel it down. But when you are ready, you've got the contact form here with some really crucial questions that then feeds into their CRM system in Sitely, where they can then take it further forward, and then they've got a process to following those leads up. And it's worked really well for Alex and his team in terms of doing this. And in fact, yes, it works so well. We have taken off the generic contact details that you would have on here. We've obviously got the address, but we don't have the telephone number or email. They are available at the bottom for anyone who wants to know. It's there. We're not taking it away, but we are funneling people that if you actually want to get in contact with Alex, this is the best way to do it. So anyway, I've talked enough on this. Claire, what do you think about this particular page?
I really like the balance. The information's clear. And as you say, it's sort of thinking from your customer's perspective, what is helpful to them and kind of tailoring that journey. So rather than us all suffering from, bloated email accounts, full of, emails and sort of hanging on, waiting for a response, it kind of gives the customer control over that journey and getting the information that they want. So I think that works really well.
Yeah. I do think it's missing, like the way I build sites now and looking at the others, it is missing the happy smiley faces. Now, if I were to fill out the project form, I know on the thank you page, I get a team shot showing happy smiley faces. So we get to see the team at that point. But I wonder if we should actually, it would be enhanced by having a little bit of a teaser of that up front or something to that relates to this page. I'm not sure, but that's what it's missing, I think.
Or maybe other customers being happy with their
Yeah,
marketing.
it could be actually, yeah, a conversation because Alex has interviewed some of his customers, I think, on site. So
Yeah.
I'm sure we've got some images like that. Yeah, that's a good idea. Because I do like that. I think if you see pictures of people, the emotion of those people can reflect onto you. And if you want people to feel good, then you show pictures that will reflect that. Works
However,
pretty
I
well.
think in this scenario, if they're getting to a point where they want to sort of work and build with Alex, I feel like they're probably invested already in him.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of other from the homepage through to process page where you get to see Alex, you get to meet him in videos. So, yeah, you could
Yeah.
be right. I still think it's just lacking a little bit something there, but as with all websites that we build, and it's just generally they're evolving. They should always work around what feels right and what needs your customers have when they interact with the page. So yeah, I like that. I like this choice. It's quite simple without having a lot of stuff on the page, but it does still present the stuff you need. Moving on to our final one, which I dropped in here, Octopus Energy. I use Octopus. I think Claire, you said use Octopus
Yeah.
Energy because it's only renewable. They only use renewable energy. Strictly, that's not true. They buy from the grid, so that is going to have coal-fired and gas powered energy, electricity in there. However, they do commit to making sure that they are at least buying 100% energy from renewables resources, renewable places. So it will be the more you spend with Octopus, the more investment is going into renewable energy. So that is a positive for it, even if they are effectively having to buy the same energy as everyone else, because it's still a commodity. It's not like who's the one in there's an energy provider in Stroud, Good Energy, maybe they're called, but they are 100% renewable and they have their own renewable
Oh,
um, turbines and things like that.
yeah.
Anyway, so that's the reason I'm with Octopus. So I feel better about the energy we use in our house and in our business. But I actually really like the company. I think I went with them initially, A, because they were renewable and they were a pretty good price. But ever since I've been using them, the support has been excellent. I know when we moved into our house, we had a bit of a problem. We were converting over from a key meter to a regular one, and they just helped me through that process. They weren't, in terms of the things we had to go through, there were a lot of them, and we had to combine different two consumers units together. There, it's complicated, but they're really good. And one of the things I liked about it is if I needed them on the phone, I could ring them, and I got an answer within, I don't know, 3, 4 calls, 3, 4 rings, and it was someone who could actually help. They were actually able to make a decision, help me, and follow up on that process just to check things were going well. So just outside of the website, their communication broadly has been excellent. I've not had any issues whatsoever. They also seem to be quite a fun company. Looking at their style, they're very fun in terms of the way they approach things. A lot of information on the website, lots of detail, FAQs. And if you're interested, you can even then export your energy data and compare your usage over a period of time. You can get nerdy and put it in a spreadsheet if you want. Before we move on, what's your experience with them, Claire?
Oh, they've been very easy to deal with. Whenever we contact them, we talk with them on chat. They're very prompt, efficient. You get to the bottom of the issue very quickly. So yeah, it's easy because usually with this kind of this type of company, you would find yourself on an automated system and you'd be spending a lot of time
Yeah,
wasting and then sort of be passed from pillar to post. So it's refreshing actually that a company of this scale has that kind of chatbot um, technology down to a T. Um, yeah, we've enjoyed them, and like you say, you can kind of see there's a freshness to their site and their
yeah.
style and design. It really pops. I love that they've got actual people, not just stock people, um, that they've just sort of bought online somewhere. So it's really lovely that they've got that, and you can kind of see the sort of friendly and warmth and how they've used real images with graphics to kind of create slightly more playful images.
Yeah, isn't that nice? That they've made the images look nice by just putting them in their octopus logo and putting these little leaves on it. I'm worried about this guy's laptop in this poof thing that he's got because I think that's going to overheat. It's not going to be able to vent the hot air from that laptop. So I'd worry that he shouldn't be doing that all day. But no, it's really nice. They're not so much happy smiley people, but they are better. They're kind of looking out. They're looking focused. And it looks really nice. Lovely colors.
They're
Lovely.
real, they're genuine
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, it's really good. So I let's just have a look down here. So contact support, first thing, if you're in an emergency, I like that. Here's our emergency guide. I will try and click on that, see if it's going to go to it. Um, yeah, so you've got telephone numbers here that you can ring. So if you've got a problem, they do share the number with you. So I like that. Otherwise, we're on to sort of FAQs. I've got these challenges. What do I need to do? Totally get that. You don't want people ringing you for the simplest tasks. And to be honest, once people know how to do this, it's quicker for them. No one wants to go on the phone if they don't need to. So I like that with a
Yeah.
search. Actually, very similar, isn't it, to JetBlue a little bit?
Yeah, very similar. And what I like about them is if there is, they foresee if there's going to be a power outage, they actually text you to sort of say, oh, between this date we're doing maintenance. So they're sort of upfront and sort of quite clear their
Mm.
communication as well.
Yeah, they're very good. I'm actually part of their WhatsApp group. They do a thing, I can't remember what the scheme's called, but basically to save turning on coal-fired power stations. I think, or yeah, I think it's to save turning on coal. They ask people to reduce their energy usage at certain times. So they're saying on this date, because they're estimating when the peak's going to be, on this date, can people turn off their power between or use less power between these times? And then they give you money back for doing that. So they pay you for doing that based on how much they believe that you've not used. You can only do it with a smart meter. And they've got a WhatsApp group for that. So you can actually see when that's happening. So I like that. It's like they're going above and beyond in terms of communicating with you, and actually, I feel part of their community, and you can dip into that if
Yeah.
you want to.
And they reward you if you are using green energy sources as well. That's one of the key reasons why we went with them as well. Um,
Moving down here, so we've got information there. Some quick answers. A different way of having FAQs, and then if you need to, yes, we've got an email, and actually their email's pretty effective. Often I will phone people if I want a quick answer, but the email's pretty good. I quite like that.
yeah,
And then they do have a contact details or emergency. So
yeah.
yeah, pretty
I love
good
that
page, I
they
think.
repeated that so that if you've panicked and you've missed it at the top, you can still find it at the bottom.
Let's click this. Does this? Yeah. So here we are. Pops up. So it's actually I don't know. They're not showing the phone number there, but maybe because they've got a lot of information. But that's quite nice.
Yeah, I
So
like the colours actually. They're quite strong and they really sort of pop out.
they do lean into the purple and the pink.